Nerds and geeks, this is it. The legendary Saturday Nights of the Nerdle Roundtable is here. It is a celebration, bitches.
I
Yours
guess so.
truly, King Magnificent Koala Sharp in the building, joined by none other than Ryan Twitch Master McBain. What it do, good sir?
Hey, who wants some strawberries? That's all I want to know.
You know what?
Damn it, you're incorrigible. Thomas Talking Cunningham.
Wah, 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 wah.
Mo Kelly.
You
And Anthony
copycat.
from Two Cubicles Down.
Oh, T saving the best for last.
Ah.
Dr. Liz should be joining us. We shall see. Starting it off this week, I have not watched it yet. I caught up with the last episode of The Last of Us, so I'm always going to be, I think, like one episode behind. And I'm understanding that this show just keeps getting better. Is that true? Ryan, you are the game player.
Yes,
Is it still on point?
it's still on point. This episode deviated from the game like the most that's ever has so far. It was I was like really surprised at how they changed it. I'm surprised in a good way because
Okay.
in the there's two characters they introduce, Bill and Frank. Spoiler alert, they're gay. And in the game, one of the characters, Bill, is a complete asshole. He does not die, by the way. Another spoiler. He actually meets Ellie in the game. In the show, they don't interact, which is a shame because they have some really great interactions. Because when they get there, because Bill and Ellie need a car, and Bill's like, okay, sure, I'll give you a car. You want anything else? You want all my food too? And Ellie goes, well, it looks like you can miss a few meals. Like shit like that. Like back and forth, just talking shit. Fucking hilarious. I was really surprised that they killed him off. I guess he's not a really important character. I mean, in the game, you only see him once. But it was sad. It was depressing. I really, really liked it. And I'm wondering, since they already started making certain changes, are they gonna make any other big changes? They've already agreed to a season 2, which I'm looking forward to. But there's something that happens in The Last of Us Part 2, the game, that pisses a lot of people off. I won't tell you guys, but if they do that, I think it's kind of gonna kill the show. So I'm very interested to see what they're gonna do.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
When I was watching, I actually stayed to watch the little after show that comes after the teaser for the next week's episode. And the producers made a point of saying that when they thought the episode that they're covering was better in the game or good in the game, they left it alone. But when they thought that the script idea that they had for the sequence of events that is portrayed in the episode is better, then they change it. And since I haven't played the game, but knowing the Nick Offerman actor and seeing his performance, he definitely is an asshole. And so I could believe that that character is an asshole in the game. But what they did in flipping it, they allowed you to get into perhaps the most actual human interaction of people kind of behaving like people in the middle of this thing, as opposed to behaving like people who are oppressed by the feds or people who are running around being fireflies and being, kind of
This was about survivors.
This was about two people who found each other, and Bill's character, the Nick Offerman character, was kind of a survival prepper. And so as things went left, he was ready. And basically his little neighborhood evacuates, but he stays because he has the wherewithal to know that ain't nothing good out there. So he kind of just built this fence around his whole little subdivision, and he occupied his house and just kind of set traps and waited. And Joel and Tess actually come to visit him in a flashback. And, at first I don't need anybody, blah, blah, blah. Frank is there by this time. And Frank has said, people are going to come and I want to clean up. I want to make it nicer. We have a perfect little thing here. And so I want it to be good for company. And when Tess and Joel come, Joel makes a point of pointing out some things that I guess Bill hadn't really considered, that
Mhm.
was going to wear away when Raiders came. They were going to get jacked up. And so this kind of truce is established between them. And he gives Joel some information that will allow him to return and not be harmed by the traps. And of course, we know what happened to Tess as of last episode. So obviously, Tess doesn't return, but he comes with Ellie. And that's at the very, very, very end of the episode. The rest of the episode entirely is Bill and Frank. And they kind of jump bits and starts through the episode. The first episode is right at the beginning. And then they fast forward 3 years. And then they jump to Joel and Tess coming. And then they jump 10 years later. And all of a sudden, there's a dramatic change in Frank's circumstances that leads to kind of the climax of the episode. And then there's a denouement where Joel and Ellie finally make
Okay, hey. Well, okay. I'll get.
I will say that I will also add this. In the game, it's totally different in the aspect
Right.
of Frank hates Bill. So what happens? This is serious. Basically, Frank wants to leave, so he wants to take a car and leave. But while doing so, he is bitten. So Joel and Ellie show up. Yeah, we need a car. So they're looking for the car. They don't know where Frank is. They find Frank. Frank is bitten, and he doesn't want to turn. So they find him. He hangs himself.
Oh,
So you're
that's
looking
his
around
game.
in the game. You're looking
Okay.
around the house, and this is pretty cool. You find a note, and that Frank left for Bill, telling you how much he hated Bill, and in that moment you realize that Bill is gay. So you have an option to show Bill the letter or keep it or don't.
Hmm.
I always show Bill the letter.
Snap.
I always show Bill the letter, and I'll never forget this. Bill
'cause
always
you're a rat
goes.
bastard.
Bill goes like, "Well, thanks, Frank. Fuck you too."
Okay, so this game is wild already.
This game's wild, Swalla. It's wild.
So the show being as wild, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Before we go any further, Dr. Liz, welcome. How you doing, sister?
Hello, everyone. I actually did see Last of Us. It's
It's
This
dark.
last episode.
I like
I
it.
do like
I
the
don't
love
know.
story. I do like the love story between the
Yeah, it
two.
was
So
good.
I thought
It was
that
good.
when he said that I have fulfilled my purpose, I was like, oh, that's so sad.
Well, I don't think we want to get too much into the spoilers, although what we know about this show is that don't get attached to too much to anybody. But
No.
I will just say, I didn't find it dark. I just found it sad. It
Yeah.
was,
Okay.
by the time the episode was done, it was melancholy. And it was, I thought, the way that they played it, again, not knowing how the game worked, I thought that the way they played it in the episode actually worked. I thought
Mhm.
everything came together, and I thought it was very, very effective. And I was choking back some tears. I will just
Oh.
say that at the end.
There's-
It hit me in the chest for real.
dude,
for real.
it's so great because you can slowly start this. They're slowly planting the seeds of Joel caring about Ellie. Joel doesn't
Mhm.
want to see Ellie see that mass grave.
Mhm.
Don't go there. It's
They're building the humanity in the show.
Mhm.
exactly. When you guys get to this point, a certain point in the game or the show, sorry, you're gonna be like, wow, you're gonna get why Joel does what he does. There's
I
like,
can't wait.
You know,
Okay.
I think about I do think about how people are born into these kind of situations, and which is what we get the little girl who has lived her whole life without seeing an airplane,
mhm.
without, those kind of things. And it does make you think about how the things that we take for granted are just, the everyday things that seems to be normal, we take for granted. So it is, but then at the same token, I think about if the world does end, like how much of an adjustment it is to the idea of like, you mean I can, instantly riot or instantly kind of,
Where
and
society
then,
breaks down.
Well, I
Right,
mean, the
and then
past 2
eventually-
years, you could find out that that's what we would probably do.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying that to me is I would think that there has to be an adjustment to going back to this sense of lawlessness.
So many
think,
Easter eggs too, by the way.
If
Like,
COVID is any indication of how this country would deal with something, all of us are asked out.
yes,
Absolutely and completely. Trust and believe that.
Well, everybody's going to end up coming to California.
don't come here. Yeah. So there's like even the Easter eggs, like when Ellie keeps asking for a gun, that is in the game. It's so funny because like obviously this episode she gets one, but she's gonna need it. And there's a part in the game where like, oh, she's gonna need that gun. But
sure.
No, I just like when they follow the game, I'm watching. When they follow the game, I'm watching it. I'm like, yo, you took the whole fucking flow, word for word, bar for bar. I love it. It's great. It's like I'm playing the game. I can't not love this show enough. It's
with the best graphics ever.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Right. From one extreme to the next, I am super, super excited about the new M. Night film, Knock at the Cabin. The trailers that I've watched, everything I've seen about this, it looks phenomenal. And with M. Night films, if you know what's going to happen, then it's a complete and utter ruin. So we don't want to ruin it for anybody because, if you would have told me in the end of that film, The Sixth Sense, that Bruce Willis was dead, I would have hated you going in to see that film. So as best you can, Tom, because Tom saw it, as best you can, let us know, because they've been on a downward slide with M. Night, and everyone says that Old was like horrible. The worst. Old was like, stop making.
Oh, I had forgotten about Old. Jesus.
Old was not good.
I heard Old was horrible.
The only spoiler I will say about A Knock at the Cabin is that Bruce Willis is dead. But truthfully, when I put it in the thread, I consider this a return to form, not the form of, let's say, Signs and Sixth Sense and Unbreakable, where there was some big twist at the end. There's not a twist, I wouldn't say. It does differ from the ending of the book. The book is a lot more bleak, apparently. I just wikied it, and just because I hadn't known the book, and so I wanted to see what the big changes were. And there are some changes from the book, but this is a movie where almost all of it takes place in the titular cabin. And so it's a little claustrophobic. It is an apocalypse movie. Dave Bautista was very effective. They don't use a lot of big names. Jonathan Groff, some people in the audience will know from Spring Awakening and Glee. I didn't know who the actor who played his husband. The actor that plays their daughter she's like 6 years old or whatever, so you wouldn't know her from anything. Bautista's definitely the biggest name, and he plays against type here. And so the performances were strong. The characters felt realized. And I thought it was an enjoyable film. I watched it with my oldest son, and he enjoyed it too. So, that's a pretty good thing, because he's a person who doesn't really like a lot. He's like Mikey in the Life cereal commercial. He don't really like that much. But he enjoyed this movie. And so I think if you were on the fence because you were, oh gosh, is this going to be Old? Is this going to be The Happening? Is this going to be Lady in the Water? It's not. It's not a flashy movie. Like I say, it's almost all taking place in this cabin that's in the woods. And so it's all about the atmosphere. It's all about these actors in this claustrophobic space and reckoning with what the plot is having them do. So go see it. I would recommend seeing it. It's not one of those things where, oh my gosh, if you don't see it on a big screen, you're losing something. I wouldn't say that. But, if you're an A-list person and you were wondering whether or not you should spend one of your things on it, I would say definitely go. And I think even if you go for an evening show as opposed to a matinee, you will enjoy it. And it's a quiet M. Night, but I think that's fine, because
this is just a movie. It's like it's not. He's not trying to rewrite the cinema wheel, so to speak. He's like, let me just
No.
make a good movie and try to like get people back on board with like, okay, I'm not trying to do too much here. I want to give you
No.
a good character-driven film, match with a really, really good story, something that many of you will be familiar with. And you can walk out and saying, hey man, you did a really good job with your interpretation of that.
I mean, I don't know that everybody is going to like it. This movie is a bit less bleak, I will say, than the book, but it's still a solid movie. And Dave Bautista is having a real strong 12 months as far as his appearances in films.
He's been in so many films.
He's been in very different
good.
films, and so he's doing. We had a discussion about whether or not The Rock was a real actor as compared to Dave Bautista. And I was saying that Dave Bautista mostly also plays Dave Bautista in his movies, but this is definitely a different role for him. And so I think people will enjoy seeing this side of his acting ability.
I have a question about M. Shyamalan. Okay, I'm
Night
Shyamalan.
There we go. How many L's can we take from watching him? Because he's had so many
lot of L's.
subpar,
Yeah.
very, very par movies. I didn't mind The Happening, but it's a one and done for me. I actually liked The Village, but that's
I like The Village.
so
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out like how many L's do we get before people just stop showing up, and like you're going to get dismal openings, dismal responses because it sucks. Like you're beginning to have a history of sucking.
Right.
I don't know
Eventually,
if there's going to be
sucky.
any end to that, Liz. There's no,
I'm just saying.
and I'm not talking about M. Night. If this film is good and it makes his money back, then yeah, he'll get another movie. We're right now, we're not at a point where Hollywood has like this big like stockpile of original ideas, which is why we keep getting
Well, that's
remakes
fair.
and reboots and
Yeah.
everything else under the sun.
Mhm.
And
True.
we get ideas that are just whack to begin with. To
But
me,
I
even
mean-
when you go on your streaming service and you drop a whack film, it's tough. I just think that the creativity that's really, really needed in Hollywood is just lacking. You got a lot of the old guard who hate the new stuff that's coming out, and you have a lot of people who are, for some reason or other, they keep wanting to hate the superhero film genre, even though that's the only thing that's keeping the lights on for the most
Hello.
part.
Yeah, but I'm saying
I don't
that
know.
M. Night is, and I know that you before we've mentioned about Jordan Peele, I think my saving grace for Jordan Peele is that at least he's trying new ideas that may not be as strong as each of them. I actually have enjoyed all of his stuff, but M. Night just keeps putting out stuff that is just really I regret watching it. Like I am watching
Damn,
Servant.
Liz.
I'm watching
Shit.
Servant on Apple TV, and the only reason why I'm
Oh.
still watching it is because I've started it and I'm going to finish it, and I literally hate. And it's 30-minute episodes, so it makes me feel better. But I literally am just sad that I'm watching this episode.
This is the third season of that show, right?
And
Or
it's
is it the
over.
fourth?
This is the final
this is it.
season. And I am like, I want a sound finale.
Well, but
All right.
3 seasons later shows that it has had some level
Some
of
audience.
success and support and audience, right?
So-
Versus some shows that are canceled within, a season that probably deserved more. We've seen a number of shows who have not gotten a second season that deserved it, comparatively.
So let's do a little experiment with some of these movies, and you can say aye or no because this is going to be an audio podcast. Unbreakable,
Aye.
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 Split,
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. I'm skipping over The Sixth Sense because obviously.
yeah.
Glass.
Aye.
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 Okay, so that would sound good, right?
Yeah.
Old.
Oh,
No.
Nay.
No.
Nay.
The Visit. If you
Nay.
even saw
The
it.
what?
Nay.
I never saw
Nay.
it. But,
Nay.
Nay.
Mm.
The Happening.
Nay.
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 The Village.
Yeah.
Nay.
Nay.
Aye.
Nay.
I liked
like
the
that.
Village.
The Last Airbender.
Nay.
Aye.
You like that, Mo?
I loved it. And I wish they would have done a
Wow.
sequel.
Yeah, well, there's a reason
Yeah.
why they didn't, Mo. There's a reason why they didn't.
Lady
what about
in
the
Lady
water?
in the Water.
I didn't
Nay.
see it.
Fuck
Nay.
no.
Yeah, never saw it.
Nah.
After Earth.
Nay.
Nah.
He directed it
That's the
He
one with Will
actually
Smith
did.
and his son?
with Will Smith and his son.
Oh,
Yeah,
that
that's
was
a no.
not good.
Yeah, that's a
that
no.
was not good.
Still trying to figure
So-
out how something evolved to kill people
Even
that
Will
aren't on a
Smith
planet.
even Will Smith in his book said how bad that the movie turned out, and he wanted to protect his son from how bad that movie turned out to be.
Well, don't put him in the movie then.
Well, there's
I'm
there's
just
that.
making
Stop
a
forcing them
statement.
down our
So-
throats.
So he wrote Devil. He didn't direct Devil. So I'm just saying. Signs. I skipped over Signs.
I
Aye.
No, I didn't like it.
It was a nay for me just because I hated the fact that the aliens came to a planet that's covered like 85% with water, and that's their kryptonite. That's just
Oh,
dumb to me.
yeah.
I just couldn't with that bullshit.
Yeah.
So basically, to the point, Mo likes more M. Night films than I think anybody else on the panel. But it definitely is both creatively and financially, it's a roll of the dice with him.
Yeah.
So it feels to me that A Knock at the Cabin is probably a relatively low budget film. Like I said, it's not super flashy.
Mhm.
There are some effects things in it, but not like crazy effects things. And so, relatively low, not low tier, but not high priced actors. And I'm sure Dave Bautista probably didn't take a full, salary that he might demand in another type of movie just because he liked this role and knew that this role was a stretch for him. So I didn't know. I hadn't seen any commercials for it. I just saw that it was released because I was on AMC.com. And so I said, F it. There's an 11 o'clock show. I'll just go. Tommy wants to come with me. And so that's what we did. And I was pleasantly surprised.
How long is the movie?
It didn't feel that long. Hold on. It looks like
I think it's under 2 hours though.
It is
Oh,
under 2 hours
okay.
because it started with when you go to AMC, if it says 11, it doesn't start until 11:30.
11:30.
We're walking
Yeah,
out at
30
1
minutes
o'clock.
of ads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's
Hey, look,
not.
I'm going.
not a
I
bad
actually
thing.
joined the A list again. So
Hey,
You might as well.
look, there's a
You're gonna
lot
save
coming
your
out this
you're
year.
gonna save your money just by going
yeah.
to see
Right.
Ant-Man and the Wasp multiple
Yeah.
times.
No,
Okay,
look,
they're saying
I'm
they're saying
excited.
it opened at 14 million.
No,
Okay.
well,
And
That's turning a profit.
Brady was at 13. So
Jesus
it had
Christ.
5.4 million on
Look.
Friday with previews, and so it looks like it's going to head to 14.5 million.
let me
which doesn't
tell
seem
you,
like
Well,
bad.
Ryan,
the word of
Ryan,
mouth
about
on it is
80 for
good, too.
Brit. Let me
Don't
you-
tell me nothing.
Yes,
Like,
please,
No,
it's
no,
great.
no, hold
I
on. Let me
wanna
tell
hear
you
it.
why. Let me tell you why it's making money. Is because even when I went to the movies yesterday, they had
Yeah,
a
it doesn't
busload
matter.
of senior citizen women
It doesn't
rolling
matter.
Oh, I'm sure.
into the
It doesn't
theater.
matter.
I am
It doesn't.
sure.
Trust me.
I
That
was like,
film
they
needs
have
not
hit-
get any mention in this
They
world.
have
That's
hit
okay.
the
I'm
senior
not
Yeah, it's
listening.
okay.
I
Yeah,
can't
it's okay.
hear
To get this
you.
It's okay.
movie
I
out.
can't hear
It's okay.
you.
We're okay on that one, Liz.
Yeah. By the way, 80 for Brady only cost
Lord have
$29
mercy.
million. So
They don't make their money, and then they did
but they're gonna
a
make their
whole
money.
Oh, God.
preview last week. So the movie had a soft launch last week, which is why I was able to see it.
Look,
On
Liz,
Saturday.
I
That-
shared
that's
your
nice.
love
It
of that
was
film with
completely
Tim
sold out.
Conway. No, I shared
was a
your
good
love
movie.
for it. He didn't believe me. I said, no, she's dead ass serious. She
It was
dug it.
so funny. I'm gonna see it again on Monday.
From all of that goodness, saving it up, and I know you all are watering at the mouth. Just you want to know, you're ready to sink
Frothing
your
at the
teeth
mouth,
into what happened this week. The long-awaited announcement, the rollout for the new DCU from James Gunn and Peter Safran. They have announced their full slate of first releases for the first chapter in their film universe, which they are calling Gods and Monsters.
Monsters, yeah.
This is a universe, according to James Gunn, that is not a reboot. He's not trying to go in and reintroduce characters. He is introducing a universe where superheroes already exist. They've been around for a while. The world is used to them. So why do an origin story? He broke down exactly how the slate of films that currently are coming out tie into his universe. He said that the Flash, as he explained it, he says Shazam will lead into Blue Beetle, which is loosely connected, into the Flash, which resets everything, into Aquaman, which sets the stage for the introduction of his Superman. He says the way that the Flash resets everything lets you know why Aquaman can exist and why the other films existed. And the Flash is the film that he says, according to James Gunn, take him at his word, is quite possibly one of the greatest superhero films he's ever seen. And that's why it's still on the schedule. He said that film was necessary to reset everything. Without the Flash, the universe that him and Peter Safran and all the DC writers from DC comic books, not just film writers, he has individuals who are responsible for some of the greatest comic book storylines in DC history. He got everyone together to map out a universe where when he introduces these new characters that we'll get into, he wants to create this eclectic universe where the Peacemaker that he introduced exists. He says he wants that to be where he's going with it. So we get Superman, we get Creature Commandos, we get Waller, the Superman and Superman Legacy. We get the HBO Max series Lanterns, which is not a buddy cop, but a police procedural series, True Detective. We're getting The Authority, which is an oh my god story.
I know nothing about that. Please explain to me
my gosh.
what The Authority is.
Dude.
It's amazing. Okay. So I'm
go ahead.
So basically, there is this group of it's kind of like Watchmen in a way, because the superheroes don't act really like superheroes. They're paid by the government.
Justify the means for them.
Exactly. It's like a dark Justice League. So you have Jenny Sparks, who has absolute control of electricity. You have the Street, who is the god of cities. He can basically make cities do whatever he wants. You've got the Engineer, who has like liquid nanobots fused throughout her body. She's a Latina. You have Apollo, who is gay Superman, and you have Midnighter, who is gay Batman. And then you have
who's it? Jack Hawksmoor.
Well, he's the city guy.
He's the city. Yeah, he's the street.
And so maybe that's.
I think that's almost the core cast. There were some other individuals from the Wildstorm universe that mixed in, but
it's really basically at a certain point they kind of like the characters in Injustice decide that they really should be in charge, and so there's a whole arc of that, and then there's the government pushing back, and they bring in this person who has literally like thousands of superpowers that were developed just for him. And then they bring in a replacement authority with people who have the exact same powers, but the Doctor. That's who it is. The Doctor is like Doctor Strange. He's a multiversal shaman kind of character who I think is addicted to heroin. Exactly. But it's a really, really, really Grant Morrison, I think. Did stuff. Mark Millar was doing the pencils for a while. He's separated from them now.
Trust me, if the way you guys feel about The Boys, you will absolutely lose your mind over The Authority. The Authority is almost like The Boys without the dick jokes. It's a much more serious in tone. At least when The Authority came out, it was like, stop bullshitting around. Superheroes are not here to play. We're here to make this fucking world right by any means necessary, and we're gonna do it. Get the fuck out of our way, and you'll survive. And it's one of those holy grail stories. It's one of those, like, if you're going to approach that, you're super serious. You're not playing around when you're doing The Authority. But conversely, he also wants to play around.
The bird chick. with the wings.
Yeah, she was also
and the
very violent.
claws.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she
She's
was
very
tearing
much
people
like
apart, eating people.
yeah,
She was weird.
she's
Yeah.
it's
So who?
It's a very if he can pull it off, and I don't know that he can, but if he can pull it off, it will be a phenomenal entry into the canon of superheroes.
So like
Absolutely.
in that story arc, who's like the main bad guy?
The world, really.
Yeah,
Believe it or not,
there's
the world.
always- yeah.
There's almost like this. There are, really ridiculous villains all over the place, but
Right.
the problem that they have is with having all of these powers and looking at the some of the other existing heroes in the Wildstorm universe and saying, you guys are all wasting your time. We need to use our powers to make this happen. Why are we asking? We have the ultimate authority to do it. Why? Because we're the most powerful beings in existence, and we're going to. So it's almost like the authority versus the world at large in making the world a better place. And you also have there's a lot of power plays. There's a lot of power. It's very political in its nature. It's a pretty serious ass book. Swift, yes, Swift is the other character.
Is the bird character.
Yeah, their powers are insane. Like Midnighter is, yes, he is a comparison to Batman, but the Midnighter, his power is to whatever it is you come at him with, he can automatically counter and destroy you. He just has that ability to just like, before you even think about trying to fight him, he's already figured out 11 ways to kill you, and he's going to do it. The instant you throw that punch, you're dead. Apollo is a Superman who's like, well, I could take you to prison, but I could also incinerate you with the power of the sun. So I'd rather do that. And foosh, you're gone. There's the Street, who at one point he came across a drug house or whatever, and he just used his power. He talked to the city, and he had the whole damn thing sunk underground.
Yeah,
Just gone. Like, you know what? We're not going in here to get this and in this drug lab. I'm going to bury the entire drug lab underground. But won't everyone in there die? What about people who are blah, 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 blah. They're dead. Boom.
Done. It's a wrap.
And it's one of those, when you tried to come after them, it was like, you're going to stop us by doing what?
Right.
By literally doing what? Because you can't do anything. We got a freaking nanobot robot who can, literally take over every single thing in the city. Jenny Sparks, who with just a snap of her finger can fry every electrode in your body. Their powers are on an extreme level, which again, it's one of those stories where it's like, man, dude, that's pretty ballsy to say you're doing the authority as a film. That's ballsy as hell. But he's, I mean, look, you've got Paradise Lost, which is an HBO Max Themyscira prequel series, The Brave and the Bold, which tells the story of Damian Wayne. It introduces Batman's son. So he's like, Batman is Batman. Batman's been around. We're good. We know who Batman is. This is our opportunity to introduce you to some of the other Bat family that exists. And they're all out there. So it's one of those, we're going to act like everyone knows who's who. And we're going to introduce Damian Wayne. And we're going to show you how Bruce Wayne is going to deal with his assassin son. The Booster Gold series, imagine Peacemaker, saying it's going to be the same level of comedy. And Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, which in this story, a lot of people are like, I don't want to see a Supergirl, but this was one of the best Supergirl stories ever told, because this tells a story of, instead of, because Clark, and eventually you found out that Kal-El, she was on the rocket and she was just sent out before, and she was traveling in space. The Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow tells the story of when Krypton exploded. A section of it, a one city, almost like the miniature city that Brainiac had got, a portion of it was protected. Jor-El used like some of his technology to save some of that was jettisoned off into space when the planet exploded. This is a story of a Supergirl who grew up on that planet, where all of a sudden you have Kryptonians who are living in almost a bubbled city where supplies are running low, where water is running low, where food is running low. And all of a sudden, Kryptonians who thought that they were better than every other uncivilized planet start picking up knives and blades and start killing each other to survive. So when we meet this Supergirl, you're talking about a Supergirl who's not all about truth, justice, and the American way. She's more in line, like, I don't know if Zod was wrong in
So she's
us
like
being
Power
on this
Girl then.
planet. Basically
Okay.
like Power Girl. So this, and the thing about this, and I can't forget Swamp Thing, because he's like, we need a dark, twisted horror type element to what we're doing. The rollout for this, the reason he explained why he's not coming out till 2025 and why he's allowing these other films to basically take the weight. He has said, we have sat down in this room and we have crafted a masterful story where characters that are going to be introduced in the animated Creature Commando series are going to be appearing in the live action series. The same actors that are doing the voices will be in the live action stuff. The story that is introduced in Green Lantern is a story that affects the entirety of the whole world we're building. Superman Legacy, what we're dealing with Clark Kent and him just kind of like having a midlife crisis, or not a midlife crisis, but having a crisis of conscience of, am I doing the right thing? Is this world really worth all that I'm doing? All of these stories are interconnected in some way or another, where you will have Batman who will visit, John Stewart. You will have Booster Gold who will talk to Superman and say, like, dude, in the world that I come from, you're the man. He's sitting down and saying, we're different from Marvel in that even though as Marvel has rolled along, they have built this universe and they've really corralled their writers and creators to pick up a story with where it's going. We're trying to start from scratch and do that. We're trying to start from jump and tell one story that is all falling under this Gods and Monsters banner. Everything that comes from it, be it animated, be it live action, be it a film, be it a video game, it's all connected. As the promise was with Marvel, he said, that's the only thing that I'm taking from my time in Marvel is I learned what they were doing. I'm going to do it better, not dissing them, but I'm going to do a better job of telling one concise story. And I'm like, dude, bring it. Fuck
Yeah.
you, bring it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I completely buy that pitch. I appreciate the pitch because it's something that nobody else has ever said. But right now, they're continuing with the Pattinson Batman, and they're continuing with the second Joker. Those are going to be a part of the Elseworlds universe.
Elseworlds, yes.
Tell me, it's great that they're using the same moniker that they use in the comics. That's super. But tell me how that's all a part of the same universe. If you were telling me that you were going to do a Crisis on Infinite Earths after The Flash, that would be one thing. But basically all you're saying is that you're using the Flash to reboot, and then you're going to tell stories of smaller characters, side stream characters, smaller groups, and which is fine. I don't have a problem with that because I really enjoy Peacemaker. I'm just saying, you're basically saying I'm throwing aside the marquee characters and developing some other people so it doesn't piss off fans of the actors who played those marquee characters. And maybe I might bring Gal Gadot back. Maybe. Maybe after a period of time, Cavill could even come back because he's doing this old school Superman in the same breath as he's saying, we're not reestablishing the universe. Everybody knows superheroes. We don't need to do an origin story. But now you're going back in time so that audiences don't immediately reject the guy you're doing as Superman. I get it. Great. You have a vision. Fine. Let's see it. Let's see the first James Gunn film.
Yes.
And let's move from there.
Yes.
Just talking shit isn't going to get it for me because we've been wading through 13 films of shit already. So,
That part.
Well,
all
if
of
this
that.
movie is
And
not good,
also-
he's gonna
and
get
also-
shit on.
if
Oh,
Peacemaker's
absolutely.
any indication and the Suicide Squad, I mean, those are pretty good lead-ins to what we can expect, hopefully.
Yeah, but he didn't do the Flash.
But
Yeah,
exactly,
also-
and to keep Ezra around is
it's
just
questionable.
ridiculous. No, it's not questionable; it's ridiculous.
At best,
And
it's
you know,
questionable.
the thing that bothers me the most,
Birds
and
of
I
a
know
feather.
Well, there you go. And
Oh,
you
wow.
know, the thing that bothers me a lot, allegedly, y'all did allegedly to me all last week. The thing that bothers me a lot is that Tom's pointing out is these secondary characters that we want a prequel to Wonder Woman.
I'm mad
No,
at
That's
no,
what
no,
that
no,
is.
no. It's actually
It may
not.
not be okay, fine,
Yeah.
but it's the life on the island before
Okay.
we had
Right.
Wonder Woman.
Mhm.
I mean, no. Like,
Well,
I mean,
that's TV. I don't mind that. Just like I'm looking
mean,
forward to
like-
World
but
of
when you
Wakanda.
throw out the main characters,
I mean,
and
after
then,
Wonder Woman 2, I mean, come on
well,
now.
I know
Well,
that. I
exactly.
get that.
Mm.
I know
I
that
mean,
part. But my point is like you're throwing out these main characters, and to the point where you're bringing up these obscure things. And I actually do like, Supergirl, but I just find this just so you're frustrating. And I absolutely want to see, clearly I want to see what this produces, but I mean, it's not something that's making me run to the theater.
You know what's interesting is that this is a vision that I see that's being rolled out by someone who is an eclectic comic book collector. When I say that, it's like you have comic book collectors who go beyond the marquee characters. I know the Creature Commandos. I know every character that's on that team. I know the Authority, one of my favorite comic books, the Wildstorm universe, one of the best universes that came out of the whole, launch of Image Comics. Booster Gold, his comic books are always hilarious because he is such a hapless hero. This is a guy who in the future was a janitor at the fucking Flash Museum for a point in time, and then he came across some time traveling equipment and some superhero throwaway gear from some folks from a museum, and came back in time to try to be a hero and turned out to just be a loser. Swamp Thing, the Damian Knight, the introduction of Damian Knight to the Batverse was one of the best kind of reboots and rebrands that they've done within the Batman mythos in the longest. And then doing the lanterns, as Giovanni is saying, look, the lanterns, a story with Hal Jordan and John Stewart patrolling the universe, doing what Green Lanterns actually do. If you ever read the Green Lantern comic books, it's not him going around creating constructs and punching people with them. They are police officers for the galaxy. Getting into something like this, I'm like, yo, that's a really interesting take on these storylines. We'll see what they do with Paradise Lost, and why for this universe that they're building, why telling the story of the Amazon island or Themyscira, why that's important. Waller, doing a series like Waller that takes place within the same universe, or not the same universe, but is connected directly to Peacemaker. I'm like, sounds like you're doing some serious comic book branded.
And then
world.
Even if you do not, even if you're not interested in this, at the very least, everyone has to say to themselves, well, at least everything is going to make sense. At least everything is going to be connected. It will be a joined universe at the very least.
2 parts. Number
Except
one,
for Elseworlds.
well, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
true.
Yes.
2 parts. But when he did this with Marvel already had an established thing.
Mhm.
So, I mean, so when he's talking about we're doing something, he's taking with the lesson that he learned from Marvel, I can appreciate that. But the difference is that DC is scatterbrained all over the place. Marvel
No,
had
well,
an
you'd have to say
established
they
thing.
were. You have to
Guardians,
say they were under
Okay.
the former leadership, and that's why he's saying I'm here to right the change. So yes, DC
And
was
so when you're
scatterbrained.
taking, yeah, but
Nothing
when
was
you're
connected.
but
Yes.
when you're taking lesser properties than your main ship, Batman, Superman, then it's just kind of it's a kind of a strange space to go. Even though I
Is it
see
though?
for me,
Because
I think it is.
Iron Man was not a
Static,
household name.
yeah, but by the time Guardians of the Galaxy came around, there was
I promise you,
But
no one knew Guardians.
nobody
No
knew
one knew.
Guardians.
No.
No. I'm not saying that they knew him,
Mhm.
but I'm saying Marvel already had something established there.
True,
And
but people
Static-
were still saying that I'm not going to go see Guardians of the Galaxy. What the fuck is
Yeah.
this? You had even
Static
actors turning down roles for that, which now they regret.
Static Path makes a comment saying that there's going to be the next part of the release next year. Here's the thing. All of us have sat through the DC release calendar, and most of it has been canceled.
Yeah.
So the history of going through and seeing what they project to be is, at this point, I see it when I see it.
Well, You got to
Yeah,
start
yeah.
somewhere.
Yeah,
You got to
no,
start
and,
somewhere.
and I mean, look, that is a fair criticism. In that DC has not earned that trust. What I'm hearing is DC hasn't earned that trust. For me, at least when it comes to trust, I trust James Gunn to deliver something that I enjoy. I've enjoyed all of the Guardians of the Galaxy projects. I enjoyed the Suicide Squad. I enjoyed
So did
Peacemaker
I.
thoroughly.
Mhm.
So far, James Gunn has been all wins for me. Him coming into a universe and not saying we're going to do something based on James Gunn and everything is going to be James Gunn. He's like, yes, I'll do the first film. Got it. But I'm here to oversee and make sure we're bringing in the right people. And the talent that he's bringing in, the people that he has on board that are writing this, that are all in the writing room. Before he said that, remember, he took this job and waited a year to say, let me think about what we're gonna do and how we're gonna do it. And everyone is like, fuck. And we're peeling stuff away. We're ending stuff. He's come out and said, like, yo, dude, he's like, Henry Cavill got a real shitty deal because they were giving him the runaround for the longest. None of that is on me, y'all. Nothing that happened before me coming in is on me. Them dropping Pennyworth, all the shows that have been canceled, the disjointedness of the DC universe, it comes from the fact that you had people in charge who, honestly, without trying to, badmouth anyone, should not have been people who didn't have their eyes on the ball. We wanted we being Warner Brothers and DC, they wanted Zack Snyder to come on board. They weren't able to make that magic happen. They wanted a cohesive universe. Now they said, look, this is going to hurt us in a major way. We're going to get what Liz just said. I'll see it when I believe it. We're going to get that from damn near everybody. But this is it. This is where we are. We'll see. We'll see in 2025. And that's about it. We will see in 2025.
It can't get much worse. That's
when,
things can
Superman
always
drops.
get worse.
Well, I don't know, man.
We've seen Wonder Woman 84.
Yeah, it can't get much worse than that. That was the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah.
So,
and they're still showing DC movies for the last 2 weeks, all on television, like constantly back to back.
They're trying to get their money's worth. They're trying to get their money's worth. They're trying to get every little dime they can. I at least I like things being streamlined. I like that we were told. He said, I'm gonna tell you, and he did. So, we'll see. We'll see. We watched some really bad stuff. So, we know we'll be watching whatever it is that comes out. We sit through some really whack shit. I am still, for some reason or another, later on tonight, I will still be watching and catching up with National Treasure. And that's one of the worst movies ever been created.
No.
It is god awful.
Now,
and I need to see where it goes. I need to see if they actually introduce Nicolas Cage.
You know how you fucked up,
but
right?
They do?
No.
Well,
they don't.
I don't think they will.
No, see, you done fucked up now. All right. You know you're done fucked up, right?
It's the funniest thing because they tied the movie, they tied this show to the movie, except Nicolas Cage.
Well, remember when they introduced his partner, he called him. He was like, hey, how y'all doing? And he talked to him. So we're led to believe, because Jerry Bruckheimer has come out and said that they are going to do National Treasure 3. He's confirmed. He's like, I got everyone on board.
Nicolas Cage need the money.
If they are doing that, and they made sure on 2 different episodes that he was supposedly on the phone talking to the young dude or his young homie, and he'd been on the phone, then the only thing that they can do is, when you get to the end of this, is show him, because otherwise how do you successfully
and how much of a waste was him even being in the show? He offered absolutely zero to the plot. Like he was.
I'm looking at Nick
the show
Cage's
offers
IMDb.
zero.
Yeah, I'm looking at Nick Cage's IMDb and it ain't popping up on here.
No. Here's the thing. Like I said, it's probably not going to be on there yet. And Nicolas Cage, he's got whatchamacallit coming out, which looks great. Renfield looks great.
I just
there
saw
for Renfield.
that trailer again. And I'm not like a real big Nicholas Hoult fan. He was serviceable in The Menu. I didn't really care for him as the Beast, but this is this is giving Renfield superpowers. If you haven't seen it, look for the trailer online. Instead of him just being a person who eats insects, he actually gets superpowers when he eats insects. So it's
Right.
it's pretty cool.
I
And
bet you could have
Aquafina,
got.
who I'm not the biggest fan of, is kind of toned down in this movie.
Yeah.
I
which is-
bet you could have got Nicolas Cage for a couple of bucks though to be in this show.
He need the money. I mean,
Maybe. Look,
Does,
maybe.
does he
IRS
still?
write-off.
I mean,
Well,
I thought
he
he
pays it
is.
still.
Oh, okay.
I mean, he's been putting out when you have a movie
Jujitsu.
that is literally the premise of the movie
Jiu-Jitsu
is to hire
is a
him
cult classic.
so that he can get some money. Like
Jiu-jitsu,
I mean,
but look, this dude, Nick, he's still making movies. He's still putting them out there. His fan base is loyal. You got to give it to
Right.
him.
yeah, he has
He's
a
loyal.
ton of straight to DVD, straight to streaming movies.
he need money.
He was in Five Nights at Freddy, y'all. I mean,
Sure. Hey,
Bro,
look,
he-
why
something must
not?
be up. It's like going down the path that Bruce Willis went down before he realized he was dating was it aphasia?
Yeah, that's
Just
yeah,
no
he is
no
all
telling
of
what's
his
going
movies.
on.
I don't know how they were able to do so many Bruce Willis movies when he was not aware that he was on a movie set. But have been like
Ooh,
12.
his last movie
Yeah.
was a hard watch. But it wasn't terrible for him. But I was like, you better than this. You could get more money than this. Like
You know what though?
you really are
Actors
better
act.
than this.
Liz,
No.
actors act. That is
Nah,
what
he
they
was
do.
better than that. That was
Unfortunately,
a bad premise.
when you're an actor, you're in front of the camera, and all we see is what we think is happening. But Reginald Val Johnson, he just recently did this one interview I was reading, and he was talking about how he's trying to stay relevant as America's favorite TV dad, because he was in a commercial, and I guess someone had tried to clown him for being it, like, damn man, how the mighty have fallen. He's like, hey man, gotta work, man. Gotta work. This is their job. Saying their job is to be in front of the camera.
Reginald Val Johnson was the mighty.
No, he's just saying the mighty has fallen.
No,
Oh,
I'm just saying. Was
yeah.
he ever mighty though? I mean, I
No,
know.
No, it's
Not like
I'm
Bruce Willis.
just saying just in
Well,
general,
or
because
like-
at one point in time that show Family Matters, that was the joint.
That was on it. Yep.
But I'm just saying, Bill Cosby was the mighty, and he has
Yeah, but
definitely
Bill
fallen.
Cosby
I don't-
was Bill Cosby
Sexually
before he got the Cosby Show.
Right. No, absolutely.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. That's why he was the mighty. Reginald Val Johnson was the fat cop from Die Hard.
Family
He was
Matters.
in the-
The dad from Family Matters.
No, I'm
Yeah.
saying but that's why he was the dad
Yeah.
from Family Matters, because they took that
Yeah.
character and basically dropped a wife onto it. And
Boom. There you
Moved
go.
to
Look,
Chicago.
now we
Upstairs and
learned
never
what
came
he
back.
did when he went home. Yes. We learned when he went home from Nakatomi Plaza. We learned what he did. He had an annoying
Well, he
neighbor.
was, he was cut
this, that,
from
the other.
what was he? He was supposed to have been in
Avengers Endgame.
yeah, and he was
was
cut.
he really?
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
cut. Yeah,
He was a cop.
cut.
He was the cop in
He was either
the
a cop
Hulk deleted
or-
scene.
I think he was
Oh,
a fireman.
wow.
Wasn't he a
No,
fireman?
he
though?
was a cop. He was a cop in he was supposed to have been the Hulk went crazy.
No, the Hulk
That-
showed up
that's
to
why.
help. And
Oh yeah. I saw
yeah.
that clip.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, it
saw
was a
that
deleted
clip.
Yeah.
scene that they put in theaters.
yeah,
Yeah.
That was such a bad redo to theater.
Yeah, well,
Man,
shit happens.
that was a waste of time. That damn,
It
and
was.
that was trash. But yeah, he did get cut.
We all got
Outside of
swindled into
all
going back.
that fun, fantastic greatness, what are we missing out there, Liz? What's
On Apple
happening on
TV?
Apple Plus?
I don't know. I mean, there's this new really sad show coming out, so I don't want to bum anybody out. Actually, I'm not really watching anything new. I am catching up on the Oscar movies, so I am doing that to see which one. I said last week Woman Talking was wonderful. But I actually did go to the movies this week, and I thought it was going to be bad, but it actually wasn't as bad as I expected. It was pretty decent. It was the Nia Long movie, the Missing.
That's the one that we keep talking about, Mo. That's the one we keep trying to bring up.
twists and the turns of that movie, and I think the thing that I liked the most is how it was shot. It was shot as if it was a teen. She's 18 and she's looking for a mom, and you get everything filmed like her searching on the internet. And so everything is kind of being like internet filmed, kind of like, and I really love that I thought it was just a creative way to tell the movie. It's not, there's more of the movie being told from her being online doing this, trying to find different ways to find her mom, more, and also like the news happening from being on being on the internet. More of that is told than her actually being in real person, which I think is kind of true for that age that lives so much of their life online or social media than being in person to person. So I do think that the show is, to me, it's worth a watch. I think I don't want to tell the ending because I don't even want to tell the twist, because I think that it comes at you like, oh, I didn't even think. No, Apple TV did not run out of content. I'm still watching, and there's other stuff on there. But I'm just saying that there is a new show that started, but I haven't watched it yet. But Missing is a pretty decent. I liked it better than Plane. I thought Plane was trash.
Okay. First of all, once again, there will be no Mike Coulter slander in this motherfucking podcast. Right?
It's not worth going to the movies to see. It is worth watching it.
Keep Mike Coulter's name out your fucking mouth.
You cannot love Mike Coulter that much.
Right?
I can.
Missing is definitely on the radar. It looks really, really good.
Oh, it's not really, really good, but it's real good. It's good enough to watch.
It just looks good. What you watching, Mo?
Your Honor, second season on Showtime. Bryan Cranston. It's great. It's great.
Okay, that's the one where he's a judge doing crooked things.
Yep,
he was a judge.
Well, yeah. Well, in the first,
is that an oversimplification?
Well, no, he was a judge. I don't want to give away the storyline. First season is he's a judge trying to keep his son out of jail.
Right.
And the second season, you find out whether he was successful or not.
Oh, okay. On the run for the mob. Ant, what you checking out?
The Bad Batch still. It's gotten a little better, but this season's a little bit darker than the last.
Yes.
You
know, I finally figured it out, Anthony. Because last week's episode I was asking, is it anything? You're like, no, it's not. It's just one heist thing after another. There's an underlying story, and tell me if you see it. There's an underlying story that started with the first episode of this, where you have this difference in opinion as far as what they should be doing. And it's and I can't remember his name, the one who's has the cybernetic arm.
Tech.
Yeah. No. Is that no? Tech is the smart one.
Echo.
Yes. You have Echo, who's been pushing for them to do more. Echo, who is saying we can't stay out of the fight forever, while you have Hunter, who's like, hey, dude, we need to just do these gigs, save up our money and get up out of here. When I watch this episode here, that the one from this week, it seems that we're getting to a point where they're not going to be able to just keep staying on the sidelines, and they're going to have to get involved full on in. And I'm just curious to see where the next couple of episodes come, because this episode here, it brought them closer out to the open than they have been before. They were very exposed in this episode, so to speak, as far as them being fully just discovered, like, hey man, damn clone crew, y'all are still alive, right?
Well, there was it the second or third where the one commander realizes, hey, they're alive, so we got to falsify the report,
right?
And then there's this one where they were the bad guys are saying, hey, we got like this a lightsaber, that the clone troopers knew that what a lightsaber was. And for those that don't know, the Death Star was built by slave labor by the Wookiees.
Yes.
Off Kashyyyk.
Yes.
So we're only maybe a year removed from Order 66 at most.
Yes.
So they still haven't even gone to the planet to, take all the Wookiees off Kashyyyk and start building the Death Star. So there's a lot going on where, they're exposing themselves more and more, and they're going to have to pick a side. Either we, sideline ourselves, or we're going to have to get in the fight.
Yeah. And it's very good. There's not a lot of, to your point, Anthony, it is darker. It's more serious. The they're taking folks out. They're just like, yeah, man, we don't have time for this, man. Pew, you're gone. You know, there's a darker story that's being told, and I like how it's building, because at first I was like, yo, dude, it's just a series of heists, but it's not. It's you start to understand that you have one mindset where they're trying to get out of the game, get to someplace in the galaxy far, far away, so they can raise Alpha and let Alpha just be a kid and just forget everything, take off the damn armor and just chill. Well, you have Echo, who's like, nah, man, I've seen too much, I've done too much. Look at me, I got the fucking robot arm, man. I got this shit all over my head, man. I'm mad. I want some payback. Let's go. Let's get it. And this I think is going to come to an explosive head. So, all right, that's what Ant's on. What about you, Tom?
Well, for those of you who don't know, if you have Paramount Plus, with the acquisition of Showtime, you can get Showtime content bundled in with your Paramount Plus. And basically, it's like only $10 more for the whole year. So I went on ahead and did that. And so now I had started watching the Judge Show when I was in a timeshare, because they had free Showtime on there, and I only got through like an episode and a half, and I was like, oh man, I'm not gonna be able to watch this. And so now I can watch that. But the show that is really intriguing me right now on Showtime is Z-Way. And if you have not watched that show, Z-Way is like, well, she was 19 years old, maybe she's now 20, but she's a young Black social media influencer, and they basically gave her a show. And so she's got interviews, she's got sketches, she's got songs, she's got performances, and she's really amazing. And so I'm kind of really into it. In the debut episode, she's got Gloria Steinem on there. She has was it Jan Krakowski from 30 Rock, Jan Krakowski, the blonde one. She is in a recurring commercial for American Girls that they do. She's clever, she's smart, she asks bold questions of her guests. She's really kind of amazing. So I hope there's already been, Z-Way, Z-I-W-E, that's her name. And there's a second season. The second season, I think, just dropped, but I'm kind of obsessed. And I finished Extraordinary Attorney Woo, which was also well worth it. So if you're into Korean Ally McBeal, definitely.
Korean Ally McBeal with autism.
I mean, that's what it is.
I got you. What about you, McBain?
With all due respect, y'all on some bullshit, because there's only one thing that's dropping soon next week that we all should be caring about, and that is Blood and Honey. Blood and Honey, Winnie the Pooh.
Oh, what?
I'm all about that.
When is Cocaine Bear?
Cocaine Bear's next month too.
No,
or next week.
That's at the end of the month.
It's the 24th. But next week, Blood and Honey. So I'm all over that. So oh bother indeed.
Wait, so it's dropping how? Like it's gonna be
it's in theaters.
It's in theaters.
Yeah, Blood and Honey's coming to the big screen.
Huh.
Yeah.
It hasn't popped up on my
And they actually added Winnie the Pooh. So it's not just Blood and Honey, it's Winnie the Pooh : Blood and Honey.
That's a joke there, but I ain't gonna say it
like that.
Yeah, well, I see it at two theaters, the Northridge Pacific Theaters in Northridge, and the Regal Sherman Oaks, which I guess is the one that's going to be taken over by.
That's right next to me. So that's perfect.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's like
it's not closed
those are the
yet.
top two Googles, right? It's playing in Simi Valley. It's playing at the Cinemark North Hollywood, the Laemmle in Newhall, and the Studio Movie Grill in Simi Valley. So it's not like it's a super wide release. But it's at the AMC City Walk and Century City in the Burbank 16. So it's
okay.
It's
out there.
Places.
It's out there.
A single showing on Wednesday. So
oh my god, I don't know.
Well, my single ass will be there. So
it will make more than Gina Carano's last film.
Probably.
No, definitely. Mm-hmm. You're gonna make it push it over $850.
I just might.
No, I think there's enough of a cult following for Pooh, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. This
I
film
would love to
might
take my
make,
son.
I'm thinking because there's this on social media, they're all about it. Twitter's been trying to organize bloodbaths or whatever they're calling the screening.
That is hilarious.
They're doing a lot with this one. If this film
What?
makes 1.5 million over the course of a weekend, they've made back all their money on the most insane concept ever.
Oh my gosh. I think that if it's not appropriate for kids, but if my kid did see it, my poor son his whole world will be rocked, right? I mean, I'm still trying to explain how Chadwick Boseman died.
Oh.
Because there's probably gonna be some nakedness in Blood and Honey. So I wouldn't suggest you take your sons to see this or your daughter, Liz, because there are going to be some inappropriate things that they're going to be exposed to. I think the only thing that I'm checking out, and I will be checking out this evening, I will be catching up with The Last of Us, but I got to get my anime fix. Brand new episode of One Piece, which the last episode was amazing. A lot of people complain about One Piece because where the hell is this damn story going? When are they going to finally free or open the land of Wano? Well, it looks like we're getting there because they're going real hard in the paint. Trigun, the new digital anime series, is phenomenal and quite possibly the most heart-wrenching anime series to watch. It's the best series to ever come out. My Hero Academia is absolute fire. It is amazing. So get my anime fix on. Ant-Man and the Wasp is next week or week after?
Week after.
I think it's the week after because they don't want to get in the way of Blood and Honey.
It's Super Bowl.
Is that what it is?
That's what it is.
The 20th, I think.
Okay. No, it's the 17th. So we're gonna be. So I will be thoroughly, going like every Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Oh yeah, it opens on the 16th. So
okay.
I've already got my.
Well, I don't know, man, because Blood and Honey drops 15th. I don't know if Ant-Man can hold up with that, man. I don't know.
You're right.
I don't know.
It's gonna be a race to the finish.
It is.
Oh snap! Mm-hmm. All right, so yeah, boom. So,
but I do think Cocaine Bear is going to have a huge showing out.
Oh, it is.
Because I hear I hear so many people talking about that I would never suspect. Talking about, I can't wait to see that.
Cocaine Bear is going to be stellar, and I don't want to jinx it. But we are working on a major get for later.
Don't jinx it.
I'm not gonna jinx it. I'm just saying. Okay, look, I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm just, whoo, man.
It's Finn Jones. Finn Jones, everybody.
Look, just stay tuned. Stay tuned. Definitely appreciate y'all for rolling with us this evening. And with that, Anthony, take us out, good sir.
Good news, everybody.
McBain.
I know we joke around a lot, but I have something very serious to say, so please forgive me. Fuck 80 for Brady.
Okay. Mo Kelly. Dr. Liz.
80 for Brady.
Tom.
Where is my Z-Way suit?
Excelsior. You ain't right.